Hey everyone, welcome to episode 77 of the Miami Tech Pod. I'm Cesar, and this week we're joined by Brian Breslin and Maria Derchi, and our special guest, Antonio Delgado, the Vice President of Innovation and Technology Partnerships at Miami-Dade College. Antonio, welcome to the Miami Tech Pod, man.
Thank you, Cesar. I feel like I'm with friends over online conversation.
That's the idea. That's the idea. And look, we have a lot to talk about, but first we should, really say that the all of the victims of Hurricane Ian across the state of Florida are really in our thoughts here. Miami got spared for the most part, but there are areas, within 2 or 3 hours of our community that are just really devastated, and our thoughts go out to them. And if people are listening and think of really good organizations to partner with or help that we can amplify on social media, please let us know. So Antonio, welcome, man. Let's let's really dive right in. We've talked a lot about this podcast about part of the creating a really strong technology ecosystem in a community is having really strong educational institutions as partners, right? And as pillars in the community. Can you just start by giving our listeners a bit of an overview of your role at Miami-Dade College and what you focus on?
Well, I'm the Vice President of Innovation and Technology Partnerships at Miami-Dade College, and this is a relatively new role, a one-year-old role that was created by the president just with the vision of being connected with the tech ecosystem in Miami, especially for the reasons that you just mentioned. The whole ecosystem has a lot of movement in venture capital, in the startups, in companies growing, in more tech jobs than ever before in Miami. And really everything goes down to, do we have the right talent to fill the job opportunities that are growing in Miami? And that's where Miami-Dade College comes in with the bridge for anyone in our community to access and be part of this beautiful ecosystem that we're building, but to do it with the right skills and to do it providing opportunity for those companies that are growing in Miami or moving to Miami to find the talent locally. So as I mentioned, this is a brand new role, and I'm enjoying that role. Like, this is the job of my life. This is a great opportunity for Miami, and we're extremely happy at Miami-Dade College to be an essential piece on the ecosystem, what's happening and what we're building in Miami for years to come.
Now, Antonio, although the role is new in the last year, you are not new to Miami-Dade College or Miami. So can you take us through a little bit about your career and how you ended up at Miami-Dade College?
Yes, of course, Maria. And actually, I'm from Cuba, and like many Cubans, I came as an immigrant. Even when I didn't know the meaning of being an immigrant, I discovered that quickly when I arrived, and it was just 11 years ago next month. So, in just a decade, I've been knowing by myself what it means to be an immigrant, to have skills and not being able to find a job. And that happened when I arrived the first time. So, at some point, I had to leave Miami to really create my career in the country. And then I came back in 2015 when that first wave of Knight Foundation funding and Matt Hagman put in the funding that really make Miami a hub, and that really attracted me to say Miami is changing. So I decided to come back. And then at some point in my career, I was not looking for a role in academia, but my first role really was teaching at the Idea Center in Miami-Dade College. Just by being part of every event that was happening on the ecosystem, I got this opportunity to teach, which was not my plan, but I really enjoy teaching. And really, from teaching, I became a program manager, then leading all the technology programs at the Idea Center in Miami-Dade College. And then later on, I became the Dean of Engineering and Technology. So for the last 5 years, I was on that role as Dean. And really, that was a great opportunity to combine two of my passions. On one side, technology, which is, I breathe technology every day. And on the other side, because of my own experience as an immigrant, how to give back to others. And education is the best way to give back, but not just to give back, but to prepare anyone with the tools to be successful. And so combining those two passions have been as a dean. I was a dean for 5 years, creating programs, creating partnerships, bringing Tesla to Miami to hire locally, to get jobs at Tesla, working with companies like Microsoft or IBM or Amazon Web Services, creating programs like cloud computing, first degree in cloud computing in the state of Florida, or working in the first bachelor degree in data analytics that is now this year selected as the #1 degree as most affordable in the nation, not because it's the cheapest, but it's the best one in return on investment for the price that you pay in tuition, how quickly you can get into a high paying job. So I was already working in technology, bringing these opportunities to Miami through Miami-Dade College, and just living the nice movement that we are creating in Miami now. I feel so lucky to be able to shape the future of Miami now with what we're doing today. So I'm really enjoying the ride and trying to maximize the opportunity for our local community.
So, Antonio, for the listeners who aren't familiar, Miami-Dade College is the largest college in the state of Florida, right, by enrollment?
It's definitely the largest in the state of Florida, but if not the largest, one of the largest colleges in the nation. We serve over 100,000 students every year, and I can tell you that we are the largest for sure serving minorities, especially serving Hispanics. 70% of Miami-Dade County's population is Hispanic. That's the same representation in Miami-Dade College. 70% of our body of students is Hispanic, and another 20% is from Black students, either from African American, Caribbean Americans, and that's really the body that we represent. It's the local Miami. Miami-Dade College as the pathway for our local community as the most diverse community in the nation, looking for an education that can really help them shape their future.
And I'm going to guess that a huge percentage of the students at Miami-Dade College are the first person in their family to go to college too, right?
Yes, it's a big percentage of them. I can tell you that 57% of them are low income or from low income backgrounds. So that's why this job is so meaningful. We have a great opportunity with tech happening in Miami, high paying jobs. And at the same time, we have this population that we are serving as a bridge for them to get skills to get into those high paying jobs. And especially at a time that we see the cost of life increasing in Miami, it's even more important to make sure that how can we get the local community to be able to afford the cost of life is really giving them the skills to get into those high paying jobs.
As someone who also works in academia, one of the challenges that I've seen over and over, I've been involved in this space in the tech space for 15 years, but I grew up in academia because both my parents are college professors at FIU. And so one of the challenges that I've seen over the years is like, for any academic institution, is how do you keep evolving at the same pace as the market requires, right? Because the tech industry moves so fast and changes so fast. Like, what are your thoughts on how institutions like Miami-Dade College and others can keep pace and stay relevant?
And that's a really good question, Brian, because keeping pace is hard, especially faculty are teaching, and how do you keep faculty current on the topics that they're teaching? But that's even harder in technology that is changing pretty much every day, and it's really not just in Miami. Of course, this is a problem from education. How do you keep up with the speed of change, and especially in tech? How do you stay current? And that's really a challenge, and that's why this first as a dean, now my role as vice president in partnerships, especially in tech, is all about partnerships. Is how do you connect with the companies that are actually creating the technology? How do you stay as close as possible to understand what's happening in tech? And that's something that every academic institution can do, and staying close and staying relevant for the benefit of the students. It's not just a generic degree that you can get. It's a degree that can give you skills that you're employable, and certifications and opportunities to grow. And the only way to make that happen, especially when I think about companies that are moving to Miami and they don't know the academic institutions. We don't have a well-known academic system outside of South Florida or Florida. So when companies come here and they don't know, the only way that you can prove that the talent is right, that they have the right skills, is by showing that they have really the right skills. And the best way to do it is, again, through those partnerships with the leading companies that are creating the technology, like Microsoft or Amazon Web Services or Google or Intel or IBM. Like getting to work with those helps not only understanding what is the latest in technology, but doing train the trainer. How do you keep your faculty current? It's actually by being exposed to the latest trends and getting training on the latest of what's happening in artificial intelligence or cloud computing. And giving faculty the opportunity to travel, to get to know the outside world, not just what's happening in Miami, but to really be exposed to the latest trends in education, in academia, and at the same time staying close with an advisory committee that of professionals, not from academia, but actually from industry that care about the local community. So that combination of elements is what allows us as Miami-Dade College to stay relevant in many of the programs in technology. All the programs that we offer in technology are following that pattern of partnerships, industry advisory, and train the trainers and professional development for faculty.
And Antonio, speaking of these rich partnerships with the industry, you all made an announcement that was pretty groundbreaking, right? In the last week or two here, in announcing the Miami-Dade College Artificial Intelligence Center. Can you walk our listeners through what the idea and the vision for the AI Center at Miami-Dade College is?
Yes, and definitely I will start with the vision to then land on the center. And the vision, as we see, there are more jobs in tech than ever before in Miami. How do we prepare the students for the jobs of today and the future? And that vision is not just Miami-Dade College vision. It's also government, local government, the Miami-Dade County, the city of Miami, but it's also the vision of Knight Foundation that has been the main investor on this ecosystem. And now with Raul Moa saying like our vision is to support the academic institutions that are preparing the next generation of talent. And with that vision, that's actually how we were able to raise 7 million from Knight Foundation, 5 million from Miami-Dade County, and 2 million from City of Miami, matching each other, 7 and 7. That combined was $14 million with an extra million from Miami-Dade Development Authority, the Downtown Development Authority, with the DDA, an extra million that was for $15 million just to start an umbrella that is called MDC Tech. And that's really our approach to the latest and emerging technologies that are happening. How do we continue improving? How can we continue elevating faculty, to Brian's question? How do we continue bringing the best talent possible to hire new faculty? How do we get that recognition? Because we are doing the job. And that's exactly where artificial intelligence comes in. Not only what we were doing already in other areas, but the future is artificial intelligence. And we see many companies and startups. We need AI talent. We need AI engineers. The question is, do you find them right now in Miami? We're basically importing talent from other sources, other places, and that's expensive, and you're competing with other markets. So the way that we say it is, how can we create an applied AI pathway that, first of all, horizontally, that we can embed AI skills to every student in Miami-Dade College, knowing that we serve over 100,000 students already every year. And then on top of that, how do you grow vertically with a degree that helps students get into applied AI? This is not going to be an AI engineer, but this is someone that understands enough to implement AI in a company from a strategy perspective, from computer science perspective, from different angles. So really, with that vision in mind, that's how the college invested in this particular artificial intelligence center that is located at the North Campus of Miami-Dade College. And it's a place really to create that connection with local businesses, with entrepreneurs, with our students. It's a place to learn, but it's also a place to interact, to create new things, to build new things. And we have from maker spaces to advanced advanced classes with quantum computing labs, with the future really coming to the college, especially in an area where is, if not 100% diverse students, is at least close to 95% diversity. So you are exposing these kids and the next generation and anyone that want to upskill and reskill with the future. You're bringing that opportunity to them, and then you're bringing the ecosystem to this particular market. So this AI center just opened in September, right now that we're closing the month. We just opened, and we are going to be expanding with investment from the DDA, for example, we're doing another replica of the center in downtown Miami. So we're bringing this at different campuses, different locations, so we can get closer to everyone that wants to learn about AI, upskill about AI, or find talent on AI. This is a place to make those things happen.
Antonio, as someone who's like a technology geek, and sort of been fascinated with the whole AI, machine learning, sort of acceleration in recent times. One of the issues that affects all these different models and engines and APIs and all this stuff is the data source. And so I'm curious if there's any projects in mind or any ideas sort of percolating to how do you get your diverse students to help build diverse data sets to train the models, right? Because one of the big flaws that we've seen, especially this was a few years back with one of the earlier ML tools of facial recognition, right? And if you train it only on white faces, it only understands white faces, right? And so we have the advantage here of having a diverse community to pull from, right? So how do we get students involved with designing the data sets to begin with, right? It's one thing to be a consumer of data, but it's another thing to be the creator, right?
That's a great question, Brian. And this is the reality. Is at the end, every software, every machine learning application, there is bias behind it. There is someone programming that to start the learning process, and really, that comes with bias, and especially when everything happens in certain areas of the nation where everyone is the same, and there is lack of diversity. We see that happening, and there are many case studies on how that's affecting, and that's why that since the beginning, when we started with this idea 3 years ago, working with Mozilla Foundation, working with the Public Interest Technology Network, that was a priority. How do we prepare our students in software engineering, in artificial intelligence, in data analysis, with a mindset that first they have a voice, and just their representation, the fact that they are working and potentially developing these applications and software, they bring their own experiences and they bring their own diversity and their point of view. So that was a key priority since the beginning when we started this process, and we did case studies with the students. And it's very interesting. Like, we know what is happening based on case studies, based on examples, but the students, they just think that this is technology. How do I use technology? They don't think on the bias that could be behind. So we need to be very meaningful at explaining them and preparing them to understand the bias. And really, that's why the first course that we developed is AI thinking, and the second course is ethics on AI. So since the beginning, and really, ethics on AI is the way that we're moving forward. But just the ethics can change from countries. Ethics can change from backgrounds. So it's more about not just the ethics, it's about the responsible AI. How to be responsible on any tool that is developed, and how we expose the students on artificial intelligence, machine learning. And that's why, again, the first two courses that are coming is how to understand AI and the ethical component on AI.
Yeah, this brings me back memories to, I've worked a lot on self-driving car policy, and there's always the policymakers who are questioning, the programming of self-driving vehicles, and have said, look, like, how do you deal with some of these like ethical or moral dilemmas around, like, if the vehicle has to avoid an object, and it could either like run into the school bus full of kids or like run
This
into
is
the
the
grandmother.
trolley dilemma.
Yeah, exactly, right. And it's like, so much of it comes down to what people program. Like, we actually have individuals making that decision ahead of time and anticipating that case study. And it's like, it's super interesting that you all recognize that as like the foundation for an AI curriculum.
Definitely. And especially because of Brian's point about diversity. Our students are the diverse element that can prove, like, you are the future. You can be part of the decision making or even the development and creation of these tools.
Antonio, one question about the, kind of diving even deeper into the curriculum, right? You've announced all of these amazing partnerships with like IBM and, Microsoft and a ton of other like very large tech companies. Like, is there a plan to have some type of, like guest faculty role, or, trying to think of the actual term, but you have like, engineers or leaders, product leaders in these companies that'll come in for a semester, teach classes from that vantage point.
Adjunct professor. Yeah.
Yeah, so Maria has a point. Like, the college has flexibility in terms of full-time faculty and then part-time faculty, the adjuncts. We have a lot of adjuncts that are working during the day, and their way to give back is actually teaching in the evenings. But to your question, Cesar, it's really about how do we bring then the people working in these companies to actually train our students to be part of the education pathway. And the best example is actually the TEALS model from Microsoft. That TEALS is really a way to get any professional in computer science to hop on K-12, especially high school students learning computer science. And now Microsoft is using the same successful model from TEALS with colleges. So we are one of the first pioneers to really go through that process to bring TEALS to colleges, and we're doing it in cybersecurity with Microsoft. So Microsoft is actively recruiting employees and partners that want to teach, and then they come through our programs and they're able to teach specific courses that are really advanced that can really benefit the students. We also have other models, and we have done this in entrepreneurship, for example, where we have an entrepreneurship class, and then every week we have a different entrepreneur, a founder, or someone with experience to come and teach one module of that class. So it's more like a guest lecture that the students get exposed to really people that are doing the job. So that's a really good point on how we grow, because the vision is how do we recruit more faculty to be able to teach these advanced topics, but also how do we keep anyone that wants to engage with an opportunity to be part of the classroom experience. Of course, following the accreditation processes to teach, but really there are ways to engage with these experienced professionals to be really connecting with the students and preparing them for the future.
Antonio, I have one last question on this topic of AI. So, as a tech geek who's been diving deep into this, is there any one specific tool or technology in this sort of AI umbrella that you're particularly interested in right now that's gotten like your fascination?
Oh, it's like there is a lot happening. Cesar mentioned autonomous vehicles, and we have a great collaboration with Argo AI. Miami is the first city where Argo AI is actually getting customers. They just announced a second city, but it's already happening in Miami Beach. So for me, like getting in that vehicle and seeing this happening, like for how long we have heard about autonomous vehicles, and now being in an autonomous vehicle, this is AI, and this is a company that is really doing it for the first time in Miami, and that's happening here. So I'm looking more not just what excites me, but really the implementation and the opportunity for the local community. And Argo AI is a big example for that. The other one is really, with the support from IBM and a $10 million investment that they gave us in just all the resources that they have available, we have a nice hologram at the AI Center that is powered by Watson AI. And that hologram is learning every day. We just turn on, and then day one, this is your name, start learning. And it learns with questions from the students, questions from every guest that comes through the center. It's a process, and it's incredible to see how a machine is really learning and how you can interface and how you can get the students engaged on this type of projects. And at the same time, you have students working now on projects with NASA on how to send rockets using an AI component in robotics. Like, what excites me is to see the students really engaged in all these opportunities and the partnerships to make sure that this is having a benefit for our community, and it is creating a pathway for anyone that wants to learn and be part of this opportunity.
Yeah, on the topic of Argo AI, we had Alex Roy on the podcast a while back, and I recently took that drive with him in one of those vehicles, and it was incredible. And he did mention that they're always trying to find kind of entry-level folks to get into the company. So shout out to anyone who's really interested and excited about AI to look into Argo. But kind of transitioning a bit, this $50 million grant isn't the only big news you've had in the last few weeks. And there's another one that we're excited to be a part of as Refresh Miami. But can you tell the audience a little bit about the $10 million grant you also just got on behalf of the kind of EDA Good Jobs Challenge?
So this is something I'm very excited about, because the Economic Development Administration after the pandemic, they wanted to see people getting into high-paying jobs, good jobs, as they call them. And really, this was a $500 million for the whole nation to apply. And then we said, hey, we're here, we're in Miami, and we're ready. And we are ready as Miami. We're ready because we are an ecosystem that has government, private sector, academia. We're all concerned about how can we do it right. And that's how we got this proposal together that MiamiTech works. And it's just a $10 million proposal that EDA approved. Out of 500 applicants, only 32 got it, and we were one of those. So $10 million to make sure that we deliver the right skills to the local people and we get them with high-paying jobs. So this is a 3-year grant, again, a big collaboration with Miami-Dade County, City of Miami, Career Source of Florida, the academic institutions. We have FIU, we have FMU as the HBCU that we have locally, Miami-Dade College, of course, OIC of South Florida. All these training providers who are getting the bootcamps to join us as well. And then on the other side, we have over 50 companies that are saying, I'm desperate for tech talent. So we have everyone already on the conversation. And we already have initiatives like the Venture Miami Hiring Fair that's happening already, connecting companies with the students. But this is going to be more meaningful. This is going to be more oriented into how can we go step back? How can we get the right skills like all these companies are looking for? How can we get all the academic institutions, private or public, to say, okay, this is where we are, this is what we have to change, this is what we can provide already? And then how do we translate that conversation between the employers looking for talent and the academic institutions preparing the future employees? So the Good Job Challenge is really an opportunity to grow Miami. It's great to have this type of funding for us to continue doing what we wanted to do and what we were doing already, but to do it with more opportunities now. And Refresh Miami is the key partner to make sure that we are about to officially launch, and we're about to start getting a tech talent ecosystem, tech talent coalition, to help drive all these connections between companies and academic institutions. So this is about to start. We just got the grant in September. So great, news coming, and Refresh Miami is going to be the main communicator of this news to make sure that we can connect everyone that wants to work to improve Miami, and we will deliver, really getting local people trained and employed the same way that we're doing it, but with an exponential level.
Antonio, do you feel like there's a role for the college to kind of act as a a lot of research institutions act, where they participate in the upside of some of the fruits of the labor of the students, or even invest in some of these ventures that are spinning out from the college? I'm thinking, like, a lot of what you said is, we have amazing partners. They really see the need. They see how excellent you are at executing on that vision. So they give you these investments because they want to grow the ecosystem. But, like, do you view this, like, the future of this being a little bit more sustainable, where you're investing alongside the spin-offs coming out of the college?
That's a great question, because I just mentioned even a tech talent coalition. And those are things that, great, we have this investment right now, but what about sustainability? And really, the college is creating an environment to make things happen. And from a nonprofit to startups to opportunities to keep this momentum going. And of course, the door is open for those opportunities to happen. The role of the college is to always think about the local community. How can we deliver for them? How can we make sure that we continue growing Miami as a whole? And really, from there are going to be many opportunities that are going to be growing and happening. We have the Idea Center, our entrepreneurship center, that is just helping businesses scale, even when, potentially in the future investing on those businesses to help them grow faster. Like, we see us as, a convener and a key element on the talent development, and we rely on others that are doing their piece to really take things to another level. If we're talking about a startup, if we're talking about acceleration. So really, it's about being a player on the ecosystem and creating conditions for everyone to thrive.
Cool. Let's talk about boot camps before we wrap. I know you all have, in that role as conveners, partnered with several boot camps to really like quickly up level, coding talent in the community. Can you talk about some of those partnerships and the ones that you've brought into the forefront of the curriculum and your focus there?
Yeah, so definitely we have great bootcamp providers in Miami. So our role is to partner with everyone. There are opportunities really for everyone, especially on the upskilling market, upskilling, reskilling. That's where the bootcamps are doing a great job. And we have great experience with WinCode, now Brain Station, that we partner when they are doing bootcamps that can help diversity. Diverse students get at a very affordable cost or for free. That's when we partner and we really connect the opportunities with the talent and diverse talent that we're serving. We have an amazing partnership with 4Geeks Academy, where we are actually the machine learning course that we have available right now is in partnership with them, and they deliver the upskilling, reskilling piece that we are offering right now. And then we have others like the Mark Cuban Foundation coming with a curriculum for artificial intelligence bootcamp for high school students. And we said, we want that in Miami. We want to bring that experience to Miami because we depend on that next generation being ready and being excited about the technology changes and opportunities that are happening right now. So we brought that opportunity to Miami, and that's happening actually with the sponsorship of Argo AI, and that's happening in October, November, where we have a bunch of high school students. We have over 50 students applying, and we're trying to get them all in to go through an artificial intelligence curriculum on Saturdays just to get them excited. So really, it's about how to be inclusive of all the opportunities that are available, how to bring even more opportunities to Miami, and how to be able to deliver on different spectrums, from the high school student that continues to college, from that person that is already working and they are thinking about how do I learn something new in UI UX or coding, or the person that is about to retire and they really think that they can be productive and they want to learn something new. Like, we have opportunities for everyone, and it's not that one institution needs to do all. That's the beauty of the Tech Talent Coalition that I mentioned, is to have everyone and really defining like who, not just defining because it's well defined, but showing companies like what are we doing on the training side, who are the providers, and what is our core expertise, so each company can find the right talent in only one place instead of going one by one, where do I find the talent.
Antonio, it's really refreshing to see someone from a big institution embrace the variety and diversity of educational opportunities and providers, right? Because historically, there's always been this sort of competitive sort of feel from the big institutions towards the boot camps, even though they're really offering a different product altogether, right? And it's catering to a different customer. The bartender who's looking to transition out of hospitality and into software development or UX design isn't necessarily like, it's a big leap to say their alternative is a $200,000 undergraduate degree versus a $10,000 boot camp, right? If that $10,000 boot camp can get them along that way. And so I'm curious if you think we're going to see like more boot camps pop up in South Florida, because there's a lot of different skill sets that don't require a 2-year or a 4-year degree that could be solved and trained for with, a bootcamp format. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think, as you said, there are opportunities for training for everyone and at different also price levels. And you have the professionals that already have a salary and can afford it, and you have those that are coming out of, either high school or college, and they want to improve on something, and it's really hard to start paying at depending on the cost. But to the question, are we going to see that growing? Yes, we just saw CodePath moving to Miami and opening in Miami and doing a great investment in Miami with support from Knight Foundation. And CodePath is actually doing it for free, which is like mind blowing. Great when you have this opportunity, especially when you talk about minorities. How do you prepare them for careers in computer science? How do you prepare them to have the skills, but to also have the interview, the right skills to interview and to pass a software development interview is totally different than any other interview. Like, we're seeing more of those opportunities, either the companies moving to Miami or creating more opportunities nationally, also affecting Miami, we're going to see that expanding. And actually in technology, as I said, the degree is more and more getting less relevant. The companies are not necessarily looking for a degree, they're looking for skills. The challenge is like, yes, you get the first job, and then when you want a promotion, you say, oh, what is your degree? So at some point you're going to be asked for a degree, not every time, but most of the time. So the vision is, how do you create a stackable credential, learning model that you're learning, you're getting skills, you're getting certifications, you can get a job. But then you don't forget about continue your education, because at some point the degree is going to be important for something in life. So that's the model that we are implementing in Miami-Dade College, where really at some point, even when we talk about a degree or credit courses and continue education, non-credit courses, like that's going to blur. That's already happening. And that's where we see more opportunities happening. How do you upskill and reskill anyone to really learn about iOS app development and then being able to build your own app? That's possible today. You have the option to learn on YouTube or other sources online, or you can do it with an instructor that can help you. And that's where we are really actively making sure that we deliver with an instructor that can help you in Miami get the right skills for all these great opportunities that are happening.
Yeah, I think to Brian's point, it's so great to see somebody in academia who's not so tied to like the old fashioned way where it's like there has to be a degree and like holding on to that expectation, and just really being like, what's best for the community and what's actually needed, and then let's go for that, and kind of making sure everyone has the skills. And also something I think that you did incredibly well, and why that grant was given to you in conjunction with a bunch of other partners, and beat out all those other people, is because you brought everybody in the community together. You weren't like, Miami-Dade's going to do this and we want the full 10 million. You were like, you brought in everyone, best practices, what they do best, and you're like, let's go for it together. And so it was one of the first times in a long time that I saw how great it can be when the whole community kind of rallies behind something, and you kind of tapped and you're like, you're good at this thing, you guys run with it and you guys do that. So kudos to you for bringing so many different partners together. And I think that's definitely speaks to why you guys beat out everybody else. But on that note, in addition to, outside of the community partners that are already involved with this grant, what do you want to ask of the broader community? How can they get involved? If there are organizations that are like, I want more tech talent and I want to really be involved in shaping the future of Miami's tech talent ecosystem, how can they get involved?
That's really a great question, Maria, and I appreciate everything you said. I can do it because of partners like you. So thank you. And really for anyone that looking at this podcast or hearing the podcast, I will say that we care about Miami. It's not just Antonio or Miami-Dade College. It's Maria, it's Brian, it's Cesar. Like, we care about what we are doing in Miami, and we care about the local people getting those opportunities. So it's not just to grow and then have these all amazing high-paying jobs and then bringing everyone from outside. Like, I believe in creating meaningful pathways, meaningful opportunities to grow the local talent. That's the only way for Miami to succeed in this great momentum that we're having and great movement. The only way to keep it is if we open the doors, and the way that the city of Miami is doing with scholarships, and Miami-Dade County is coming with the funding to say, how can we make it for free so affordability is not an option? So we see an investment from government, from a county and city level, and that's normal, not just here, like anywhere in the nation. Like, we have government and the leaders from government coming to say, we are here. We have academic institutions saying, like, we are here, we care. It's like, for those with companies that are coming and are growing in Miami, is invest in the local people, invest in creating pathways. And that might mean that instead of someone with 5 years of experience, you're going to open an internship to start growing the local talent to get to the 5 years of experience at your company. So that's what I want to see in Miami, that we continue growing all together. And really, that's going to take Miami to another level to do even more and attract even more companies and talent and create that beautiful hub that we all want to have in Miami. The only way is involving the local people and the local talent, and you have to be meaningful about it. So that's what I'm here for. That's what the Tech Talent Coalition is going to be about. And that's what, in general, our students are ready. They don't want to leave Miami. They want to get that first job in Miami, and that's what we need to do, creating more of those entry-level internship roles where they can get that first experience and stay in Miami to create benefits for Miami.
Antonio, thank you so much for joining the Miami Tech Pod. This was a great conversation. We wish you the best. We know that you all are going to crush it over there, and feel free to, as developments happen and more partnerships happen at Miami-Dade College, reach out to us so we can continue highlighting the great work you're doing.
Thank you, Cesar. Really appreciate it. And what you guys are doing with the Tech Pod is good. It's like you're getting the voice out there. So I really appreciate everything you do. And just a final call to action for those on the other side, the ones that feel like, how can I get in? How can I learn new skills? This is the best timing because with all the funding we're getting, we're also making all the courses, the tech courses, for free. Anyone that lives in Miami-Dade County can get access to any course from Miami-Dade College, like all the courses in tech.
That's amazing.
For free. So no better time to do that than now. And it's going to be this whole year, everything happening for free. We have already disbursed $500,000 only in 3 weeks or 4 weeks of this semester. So imagine, like, we are here to really put the money where we're saying that we're going and to help anyone get into tech.
That's amazing. Thank you for joining the pod, Antonio. We'll talk soon, I'm sure. This has been really great.